welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video tutorial, we're going to learn how to crochet step by step the easiest crochet shawl, which only repeats 2 rows. I'm using Alize Superlana Classic Batik as my yarn in a 4.5mm crochet hook. Now this pattern also comes in a written form, which you can find in my Etsy store, Ravelry, and in my pattern store, and you can find the links under the video in the pinned comment. Now let's see in the next cards that will show the material that I've used and the total measurements of the shawl. Okay, now let's start. So now we're going to start our project and we're going to begin with our magic circle. Now if you do not know or if you do not like how to work the magic circle, you can start with 4 chains, slip stitch in the first chain to create a ring, and whatever I work in the center of my magic circle, you can work in the center of your chain 4 ring, okay? So now in order to start the magic circle, take the yarn and wrap it around your fingers once and bring it on the top left. Now take your crochet hook and put it under the right yarn, over the left yarn, pull it under, turn your hook around once and see how we have a loop on our hook. Take the left yarn and pull it through that loop. And by doing that, we have created our magic circle and we have worked our first chain. Now work 2 more chains. 1, 2, okay, and we have a total of 3 chains. Now if you have started with your chain 4 ring, work 3 chains instead of 2, and now whatever I work in the center of my magic circle, you can work in the center of your chain 4 ring. So I have 1 double crochet, which is my first 3 chains over here, and I'm going to work 3 more in the center of my circle. 1, 2, 3. Along with the 3 chains that counted as a double crochet, I have started my work with 4 double crochet. Chain 2 and work 4 more double crochet under the magic circle. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now if you have started with your magic circle as I have, grab the center of the yarn that we started with, this one over here, and pull it tight. And this was row 1, and this is the beginning of our shawl. Now we're going to chain 3, and we always start our new rows by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. And we always crochet 1 double crochet in the first stitch of the row. Now by doing this, the 3 chains that we start our work with count as our first double crochet, and the double crochet that we work in the first stitch of the row counts as an increase. We worked 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to skip 1 stitch, and I'm going to put my hook around the second one, and I'm going to work a front post double crochet, and this is the wrong side of our shawl now. Okay, so skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one. So we're going to put our hook from the front to the back on the right side, and take your hook out, okay, to the front again on the left side, so you can see we're pulling outwards the double crochet. Take the yarn, pull it under the stitch, take the yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, take yarn, pull through the last 2 loops, and we have just worked a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and put your hook under the chain 2 space, which this is the center of our shawl, where we are always going to be working 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 2 double crochet under the chain 2 space. So 1, 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more double crochet under the chain space. 1 and 2. Now we're going to continue by working going downwards, and I'm going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one from the front to the back, out to the front again, so we're pulling outwards the stitch to work a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and put your hook in the last stitch of the row, and I want you to be careful to not miss the last stitch, because the last stitch of every row, it's the chain 3 that we start in the beginning of our rows. So we're going to count the third chain, counting from the bottom to the top. 1, 2, 3. Put your hook in that third chain and finish the work in the same way we started, with 2 stitches in the same stitch. So 1 double crochet, put your hook in the same stitch and work 1 more double crochet. And this is how our work looks at this point. This is the end of row 2, sorry. Now we're going to start row 3 by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Put your hook in the first stitch and work 1 double crochet. So again, we have the increase in the beginning of our row. And now we're going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch going upwards. This means that we're working 1 double crochet in every double crochet, 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space. Now you can work under the chain 1 space, but it looks nicer when you work in the chain. It looks a lot better as a result. But it's not wrong if you want to work your double crochet under the chain 1 space, okay? It just looks better. 1 double crochet in the double crochet, 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, 1 double crochet in the double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next double crochet. And now we have reached again the chain 2 space, into which we are always working 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 2 double crochet under the same chain space. And this is the center of our shawl. And now we're going to continue by working 1 double crochet in every stitch going downwards. This means 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, 1 double crochet in the double crochet. Now make sure that when you reach the end, in the last stitch of the row, which is the chain 3, counting from the bottom to the top, 1, 2, 3, right in here, again work 2 double crochet in the same stitch. I have completed row 3, and basically these are the 2 rows that we repeat, row 2 and row 3. Okay, so now we're going to continue and we're going to work a few more rows together just so you can see better how we're working the repetitions of row 2. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We always work 1 double crochet in the first stitch of the row. Now we're going to chain 1 because we're doing the repetitions of row 2. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one and work a front post double crochet. chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and go right in the chain 2 space to work the center of the shawl. Now, when we're doing the repetitions of row 3, if we're crocheting correctly, before the chain 2 space, we always have this double crochet to skip, because we always work chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and work into the second one, chain 1, skip 1 stitch. So if you reach the chain 2 space over here and you do not have a stitch to skip, this means that somewhere you have made a mistake. Okay, so please be aware that every time that we are repeating row 2, we always have to have a stitch to skip. So skip 1 stitch and go right into the chain 2 space and work your 2 double crochet. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochet under the chain 2 space. And when working your front post double crochet the wrong side, look what a nice texture it gives in the good side of the shawl. Look how beautiful it looks. Now we're going to continue working the same steps going downwards. So chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work a front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work your front post double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, put your hook around the second one, and work your front post double crochet. Chain 1, and now again, when we're doing the repetitions of this row, again, in the end, we need to have a stitch to skip, and then we're going to work in the last stitch of the row, okay? So skip 1 stitch, which is the second before the last, and put your hook in the last stitch of the row, which is the third chain, counting from the bottom to the top. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to finish the row by working 2 double crochet in the same stitch. 1 and 2. And this was the end of row 4. And this is how our work looks like. Okay, now we're going to go into row number 5, where we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put your hook in the first double crochet and work 1 double crochet. And we're going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch going upwards. So 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, one double crochet in the double crochet, 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, and keep working 1 double crochet in every stitch up until you reach the chain 2 space. I have worked 1 double crochet going upwards in every stitch, and this is how my work looks like. Now again, in the chain 2 space, we're going to work 2 double crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, and work 2 more double crochet under the chain 2 space. 1 and 2. And now keep working 1 double crochet in every stitch going downwards. So 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, 1 double crochet in the chain 2 space, 1 double crochet, and keep working 1 double crochet in every stitch going downwards. And again, in the last stitch of the row right here, in the third chain counting from the bottom to the top right in here, I'm going to finish my row with 2 double crochet. I have completed row number 5, and this is how my work looks like at this point. Now, either I say that we're repeating rows 2 and 3 or rows 4 and 5 because it's easier to see the steps that we're working. It's the same exact thing, okay? So just follow the same exact steps of the last 2 rows that we did over here. And because we're adding stitches in every row that we start, we add 1 extra stitch in the beginning of the row and 2 extra stitches in the center of the shawl. So each side has 3 extra stitches in every new row that we start. Okay, I'm gonna work a few more rows off camera just to show you how the texture and how the shawl will look a few more rows later. Okay, I've worked a few more rows off camera, and this is how our shawl looks like. Look how beautiful the texture of the front post double crochet that we work in the wrong side. What a nice texture it gives in our shawl. It gives a very nice look. Now, so this shawl I'm working with a wool and acrylic yarn, okay? But you can also work it with mohair yarn, which will give an amazing result in your shawl. But make sure that if you're gonna work it with mohair yarn to make your sample with an acrylic one, just to make sure that the steps that you're working are correct, because mohair yarn is very hard to rip. This is a very easy pattern. You can adjust it to any type of yarn. You can work it with size 4 yarn, with size 5 yarn. You can work it with thinner yarn even, or for summer you can use cotton yarn to crochet the shawl and make it a shawlette. You know, a smaller shawl to just wrap it around your neck. This can be adjusted to any type of shawl, any type of yarn that you want, because you only repeat 2 steps. Okay, so once you're finished with your shawl, make sure if you have started with the magic circle to weave in the end around the loops a few times, just to make sure that your magic circle does not come apart and you do not destroy your shawl. And once you finish, in the end, you can attach tassels, as I have done in each of the 3 corners of my shawl. And if you want to have the same tassels in each corner of your shawl, make sure to count the times that you wrap the yarn around your tool. I have used my hairpin lace tool and have wrapped the yarn around it 40 times. If you want a thinner tassel, you can wrap less. If you want a thicker tassel, you can wrap it more times. And just tie it in each of the 3 corners of the shawl. That was the 1 corner. Okay, this is the center of the shawl right over here. And this is the other corner of my shawl right over here. The shawl is kind of big, so it's kind of hard to maneuver it on my table over here right now. Or you can add fringes. Okay, if you do not like tassels, you can attach fringes. You can attach like 3 pieces in every 3rd stitch and so on. Or you can crochet a border around your shawl. Whatever you prefer better, you can do it in your shawl. Okay, so this was our shawl. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we have the written pattern, for which the links you can find under the video in the first pinned comment. Thanks again. Bye bye.